Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for asking.
I,
Um,
I love the sweatshirt.
oh, thank you. Had to throw it on for you.
Thanks.
Okay, so you want to introduce yourself before I ask you some questions?
Sure, sure. Well, my name is Sam Prakel, and I'm a professional runner for Adidas. I live and train in Seattle, Washington, but I went to school at Oregon and ran for the Ducks. And I am originally from Versailles, Ohio. So, grew up in a small town in Ohio and found myself out west for most of my running career. But yeah, right now I'm just getting ready for the indoor season and training here in Seattle. So things are good.
Okay, amazing. I guess I'll ask you where it all started, when you started running, kind of why you started running, and just how you got into the sport.
Yeah, I started running at a fairly young age, I would say. I kind of followed in the footsteps of my oldest sister, Mary, who's 4 years older than me. She was the first person in our family to do cross country, and I saw um, the success she found in cross country, and I just wanted to um, follow in her footsteps. So I got into running, like running local 5Ks and stuff, probably in third or fourth grade was my like earliest memories of running. Just in the summer, running some local 5Ks and doing pretty well in my age group. And then when I finally got to middle school and I was able to compete for the school, I did cross country in seventh grade, and that was kind of my first taste of like real competitive running. So and then yeah, got really into it in high school. Still did a lot of different activities, but running was the main focus. So I think I knew from a pretty young age that
Mhm.
I had some talent in running. But even back then, I never would have predicted that I'd still be running today and have had such a long career. So it's been a fun journey. But yeah, I always think back to those early days of running. Those fun community races and local 5Ks that kind of really um, sparked the passion for running. So yeah, that's when it all started.
Okay, so you said you were pretty naturally, like you could tell you had a little bit of talent. Do you think that motivated you a little more to keep pursuing the sport?
I would say so. I think it's yeah easier to find motivation when you see improvement. I would say
Hmm.
um, yeah once I started in seventh grade and saw just how much my times were dropping each race and that's kind of one thing that keeps you motivated. And then there is a lot of positive feedback because when you're winning races and getting a lot of praise from your friends and teammates and coaches, it's yeah
Hmm.
easy to stay motivated. I think had to be careful though because I didn't want to like take that and turn it into like pressure
Yeah.
to continue to be really good, which I probably fell in that trap a few times, just putting a ton of pressure on myself and maybe
Hmm.
underperforming because I was like so stressed about it. So if I had to go back, that's one thing I would change is to yeah, use the success and that realization of talent as motivation, but don't maybe take it too far where it turns into too much pressure. But yeah, I've always had like a pretty big like intrinsic motivation, I would say,
Hmm.
and yeah, you're right. I think a lot of that comes from just recognizing that the talent was there.
Okay. So you also said you did a bunch of other stuff on your, I guess, journey through high school. Like, what was some of that stuff? Was it other sports, just other hobbies in general? Or like, how did that look?
Yeah, I was busy year round. Besides obviously cross country and track, which were in the fall and the spring for me, I did swim team all 4 years of high school, which was in the winter for us. Which I, in the beginning, it was more just a way to stay active in the winter because in Ohio, it was really hard to run through the winters just with the weather and the cold. So I found swim team as a way to stay active and stay fit through swimming. But really got into it and found some success in swimming. Qualified for the state meet a couple of times and was finding the same joy in that as I did in running. It was like another sport where you can like
Yeah.
see improvement and see how much you can drop time throughout the season and get better through training, which really was yeah
Hmm.
similar to running for me. So yeah, I swam all 4 years of high school, both in the winters and the summers, I guess. So was pretty active year round. I was in the band. I did marching band all 4 years. Played the trombone, in not just marching band, but jazz band and concert band,
Hmm.
and that was another year round thing that I really got into. And then I was also in Boy Scouts, so I was kind of working
Okay.
towards I got my Eagle Scout, I want to say my junior year of high school. So I was busy doing all that too. So
Yeah.
I liked to stay busy in high school. I don't know really how I did it. It was just like
Hmm.
every season, every month was pretty busy. Um, but really, yeah, really enjoyed each activity, and I think it really shaped me who I am today.
Okay. So I don't know if anybody watching my video doesn't know this yet, but I'm actually moving to Ohio this year. I currently
No
live in
way.
Georgia. I'm
Okay.
moving to a small town. It's really small. I think it's considered a village, actually, Lexington, Ohio. So I have to take on some of your hobbies, I guess, see if that fits in for
I think I've
Ohio.
heard of Lexington. My town was a village as well. The
Uh-huh.
population was only 2,500, so a very small place, but I would say a very good place to grow up,
Yeah.
and a very supportive community. I think that's another reason why I had success in running was just having support from the community and the coaches and
Hmm.
everyone. Like we would like everyone would travel out to the state meet, even though
Hmm.
I was the only one that qualified some years, and for the boys team, like my whole team and other community members would come like just to watch me and whoever else was there. So yeah, just having that support was huge.
That's awesome. It's something for me to look forward to, I guess, next year. Um, I guess after high school, you made a pretty big jump from going, obviously, how you said, a small town, in on the East Coast pretty much, all the way to the West Coast in Oregon. So what was your decision behind that? And like, why did you think Oregon was the right move for you?
It was a really tough decision in the moment. I visited a lot of different schools. I took
Hmm.
all five official visits and a lot of unofficial visits, and was really torn between a lot of good schools, both academically and athletically. And it really came down to ironically two West Coast schools, Stanford and Oregon. Just I knew they were really far from home, but I knew that they had incredible distance running programs, and having an opportunity to run at one of those schools was something that I didn't want to pass up, even though it was so far from home. I ended up just like connecting a little better with the coach and the athletes at Oregon, and felt good about that decision. So committed to Oregon my senior year. But even like after I committed, I was still like pretty nervous about moving out there. I knew it
Hmm.
was going to be a lot different from Ohio, and the team was going to be really good. And I still lacked a little confidence in my own ability. And I thought maybe I'd just be getting dropped every workout and would hate it. But it was the opposite. Like I had an incredible transition to college, and
Hmm.
owe a lot to my coach for helping me build up to the level you had to get to compete at a D1 college like Oregon. So yeah, it was definitely a transition, but I think I had a good support system in Oregon, and my family was very supportive, even though they were all the way back home in Ohio.
Hmm.
They came to visit and um, made sure that yeah, the experience was a positive one for me.
It's amazing. So you made another pretty big jump then, because you obviously went to Oregon, but then I've seen you've been training with a lot of the Washington guys. I don't know if you have any like thing to do with the coaching there, but do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, it was kind of unexpected after I graduated. I'll always be a Duck and a huge Oregon fan, but
Hmm.
the past 6 years I've lived in Seattle and I've trained with the University of Washington guys, um, with Coach Powell kind of overseeing all of us. And for yeah, the last 5 or 6 years, I was a volunteer assistant coach on the team. I'm no longer officially on the coaching roster, but I'm very much involved with the team. So
Hmm.
I'm allowed to train with them and do a lot of most workouts with them. So it's been incredible. I mean, it's been really cool to see Coach Powell build the program. The past 6 years, they weren't they're obviously a very good track team
Hmm.
when we showed up in 2018. But since then we've developed a few individual national champions in the 1500 and the mile, and the team has won the Pac-12 title the past couple of years in outdoor track. I mean, now they're in the Big Ten, so we'll see how they
Yeah.
do this next track season. But yeah, it's been really cool, and I've been super lucky that we've brought in like
Mhm.
athletes like Joe Wascom and Nathan Green, like really good milers that I can train with, and they help push me, and we push each other. So yeah, those guys are my training partners, and I
Mhm.
pretty much do the exact same training as they do. So it's really really cool for them to kind of see like what life as a pro athlete is like, but also I like having a good big squad of training partners that are they're all younger than me, but I like the energy that they bring, and it's a really good setup for me.
Okay. So, how has your training been compared to high school, college, and now professionally?
So I guess the easiest comparison to now is obviously college because I had the same coach. So like
Hmm.
so that was a big reason why I decided to stay with Coach Powell after Oregon is because his training worked really well for me and he understood me as an athlete. So I would say the training for me from college to pro hasn't really changed too much. We've definitely like changed little things every year. Like I've done, more volume recently and I've done longer long runs recently because in college I wasn't really high mileage, but now my mileage and my volume is a little higher and that's for a few different reasons. One, as you get older, you're able to handle a little more, and two, with like the new shoe technology, I think you're also able to recover from some of these longer runs faster.
Hmm.
And then in high school, I was pretty lucky to have really smart coaches who did a good job developing me, but didn't, necessarily overtrain me. So I had Coach Plyman in cross country, and he did a good job of keeping things fun, but still like allowing me to push myself in workouts. And cross country was a little more unstructured, just doing a bunch of like mile repeats and hilly fartlicks and stuff. And then track, I had a coach named Coach Gubo, and he actually used a lot of the same training philosophies that my current coach and my college coach, Coach Powell, uses. He
Hmm.
he does a lot of he takes a lot of stuff from the Jack Daniels running formula book. So there's some um, charts in there where he kind of decides what paces to run on certain workouts. And my high school coach actually used that. So I did a lot of the same workouts in high school that I ended up doing in college and as a pro. So I just got lucky. I don't think there's one way to do it. There's a lot of different
Hmm.
ways to get in shape. But this is the way that works for me. So I'm glad it's worked out.
Okay. So, when you were running in high school, you talked about how you swam during the winters and summers. Would you be running on top of that, or would you be purely swimming?
So my first couple years in high school, I did zero running in the winter during swim season.
Hmm.
And then once, I started looking at colleges and decided that I was going to run in college, my junior and senior years of high school, I probably ran like two or three times a week just for like 20 to 30 minutes,
Hmm.
usually on a treadmill because the winters were kind of rough. Sometimes outside if it was like later in the winter and things started to warm up. But yeah, yeah, once I got to my junior and senior years of high school, I figured it'd be a good idea just to like get the legs somewhat used to running. I couldn't go like
Yeah.
a couple months without running at all. But yeah, no, I definitely got away with it my first 2 years of high school, just swimming, and we would do some weightlifting too in swim team. But I think it was good just kind of like giving my body like a whole season off from running because it's a pretty um, demanding sport, especially when you're still in high school.
Okay. So, around how many miles are you doing a week right now? And like how many days are you running and how many workouts are you doing?
So I've discovered that for me, my sweet spot for mileage is between 80 and 85 miles a week, and I
Hmm.
I do that in 6 days. So I try to take one off day every week where I just do nothing at all, which is really nice, like not just physically but mentally. So I'll just have a day of no training and I can do other things.
Hmm.
And kind of get my mind off running. So that's been huge for me. But the rest of the week is that's pretty dense training. Trying to fit in 80 to 85 miles in
Yeah.
6 days is a lot. But I think it works well for me. I can't really go too much. over that just because I
Mhm.
start to break down and I think if I'm yeah trying to compete at the top level, like I can't really do any less or else you kind of miss out on some fitness. But yeah, that's after years and years of kind of trying different things and
Mhm.
I was a lot less in college and then even less in high school. So I would say it took a long time to build up to that 80 to 85 range. In college, I was probably more like 70. And then in high school, I never really got above like 30 miles a week, maybe
Yeah.
miles a week. So it was definitely a progression.
Okay. So, how many like workouts were you doing or are you doing now? And you're obviously a shorter distance guy. So, do you think it's more important to have that intensity factor compared to like some 5K guys who are only doing like one or two workouts a week?
Yeah. So I work out twice a week. And one workout is more of a threshold workout. And then the other workout is definitely more of an intensity workout on the track.
Mhm.
That's the norm. Some parts of the year it differs. Maybe I'm just doing like more threshold and then less intensity, and then it can switch once you get closer to some track races. But I would say like our training philosophy is definitely more it leans on the side of like intensity and quality
Mhm.
over quantity. And I think that's why like we have so many good like milers and 1500 runners because
Yeah.
we do a good job of like really hitting those track workouts. I would say yeah, if I wanted to have more success at like the 5K or the 10K, I would have to maybe move away from that and get more
Mhm.
into the longer um more threshold type workouts. But for now, yeah, this system works pretty well for developing milers, and there's definitely ways to still be good at the mile and not maybe do some intense
Mhm.
track workouts. But I would say that's um, yeah, for me personally, like I'm just such a um, power based athlete. Like I need to feel good
Mhm.
running, race pace. So I do, yeah, do a few workouts at race pace before I hop in a race. But I would say besides like that one workout a week that's intense, like the rest of it's pretty you know moderate. Like we're very controlled in everything we do. So we rarely go all out in a workout. So it's just like good to kind of keep things in check and make sure you don't dig yourself in a hole and get too tired throughout the training cycle. But yeah, I would say that I don't know. I think, like I said before, there's lots of different ways to get fit. That's just the one that works for us in our schedule.
Yeah. So I noticed you said something about quality over quantity, and I feel like that kind of just like circles back into that 6 days a week because there's a lot of guys out there who do 100-mile weeks, like, and they're running all 7 days. And I was just wondering, like, do you think like those junk miles like more negatively impact them, like positively impact them, or just there, just waste?
Yeah, I think it depends on what works for you and what race you're getting ready
Hmm.
for. I would say, yeah, a lot of um, those junk miles are probably okay if you're like in the base phase. But once I start track season, um, I might feel good in training, but if I'm not getting a chance to fully absorb the training, like in that day off, like if I run for 6 days and then take a day off, that day, like I'm really absorbing the training and allowing my body to recover and I just it allows me to train even harder the next week. So
Hmm.
if I didn't have that day off and instead I went for a run, I would just continue to feel tired and I would start the next week feeling tired and then like that would affect, the following workouts. So instead I like kind of reset, get really fresh and then I can attack the next week and make more jumps in fitness. So I would say I can't really yet speak for guys who don't do that, but for me, like I try to eliminate a lot of those junk miles. Every 3 or 4 runs a week are definitely like on the easy side for
Yeah.
me. And maybe some people would consider that junk mileage, but yeah, you're still recovering at when you're running and that's really important too. But um, yeah, I think I would just have a hard time, yeah, feeling good in workouts and races if I didn't have those days off. And also it's a good way to kind of prevent injuries too, just giving yourself a day that you're not having to um hit the pavement or yeah,
Hmm.
kind of give your legs a break.
Okay, so in a previous video, this was a while back. I think it was the one, it may have been with Adam Fogg, but I said that you were probably the most underrated American middle distance runner because I feel like you're very consistent. You're always towards the top. And I was just wondering your opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably have to agree with that. Just
Hmm.
I don't know if it's just my performance and how consistent I am, but I'm haven't quite had that breakthrough yet, and also maybe a little bit because of my personality, I'm a little more reserved. I don't usually like speak out about things, and I'm not super loud on social media or in interviews. I kind of like just put in my work and see how good I can get, which is fun. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of nice though being, underrated or under the radar. I don't have to deal with a lot of external pressure. It's just more like it's easier to focus on myself. So I don't envy guys who maybe are always in the spotlight, and I don't necessarily
Hmm.
want that. But I do hope that, someday all of my like hard work is going to pay off and I'll have that breakthrough, and maybe I'll come into the spotlight a little bit. But I'm happy where I'm at. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely agree with you that I maybe don't necessarily get the same recognition that other runners get. But yeah, I just try to put forth my best effort every race, and I think I do a good job of getting the most out of myself every race. So that's
Hmm.
another reason why like I'm always there. I'm always like in the mix,
Yeah.
which is a fun place to be. So. I kind of just want to keep doing that, and one of these days, I think I'll hit one out of the park.
Hmm. I did see you've had a lot of success lately on the roads in the 5K specifically. Do you think there's any chance you make the jump for the next season or two?
There's definitely a chance. I think the 5K could suit me really well. Just
Hmm.
the older I get, the stronger I get, and if I still have some of that speed, if I can hang for the first part of the race, I think I'll be able to close pretty hard in the championship 5K. Um, I don't know if it'll happen this year. I think I'll definitely run both, like in the fall I was doing 5Ks, and now I think indoor season I'll try to do both like 1500 and 5K type racing and training. I think the big picture though is like if you train like a 5K guy, I think that'll still help your 1500 just because you have to be really strong to run 330,
Yeah.
which is what it takes to make a US team now. So I'm hoping that translates into a faster 1500. But I'm not ruling out the 5K. I've had a lot of fun, racing the past couple 5Ks, especially the one on the roads that you mentioned. So I do think there's a lot of potential there. I think, yeah, it's definitely a scary event because it is so much longer than the 1500, so that'll take some getting used to. But I think, yeah, I do have some potential, and I think I've had most 5Ks I've run, I've had a pretty like positive experience. So I'm just gonna, yeah, keep trying it.
Yeah. Okay. So, as you said earlier, you're a professional runner and you an athlete for Adidas. So, what has made you decide to go with them over other brands that may have been offering you sponsorship?
Yeah, it was sort of a unknown process to me when I graduated college. I knew I wanted to go pro, but I
Hmm.
didn't really know like how you got a contract or how many options you would have. And I really didn't have like that many options coming out of college. I wasn't a national champion, so I didn't get to like pick and choose.
Yeah.
So Adidas was just like one of the few companies that offered me a contract, and they were also a company that allowed me to stay with my college coach, which was a big priority for me.
Hmm.
Some companies you have to join their pro group,
Yeah.
which is great. Like that's you have a ton of resources that way. But personally, like I'm a pretty like individual athlete. I don't need a lot of like direction. So like I just wanted to stay with my college coach and keep training with him and stay out here out west. So Adidas allowed me to do that, and they've been super helpful, like you know giving me everything I need.
Mhm.
And I just knew they were like a big brand too. Like they had a lot of athletes, and I just knew they would have the the like like the shoe technology, and I just knew they were always gonna be like the type of company to invest in like
Yeah.
athletic shoes and stuff. So, and you've seen that too. They've gotten like a lot better over the years with their shoes. So it's been a good company.
Okay. Speaking of shoes, have you gotten your hands on a pair of Evos?
No, not yet.
Not
I
yet.
think they've sent them out to some marathoners you've seen on the roads, but as
Yeah.
a miler, I think I'm kind of pretty low on the list. I wish.
Hmm. A little more motivation to jump up to that 5K maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm gonna switch up the questions a little bit here. A little off running now. What are the three random facts about you?
Oh, okay. One, I have four sisters, and I'm the middle child.
Are you the only brother?
Yes, I'm the only boy.
Cool.
Yeah. So a lot of girls in the house growing up.
Mhm.
And then two, I can ride a unicycle and juggle. So
Well,
that's
you,
one
can
of
you them
my,
together
I
or
can.
just
Yeah.
okay?
I haven't done it in a while, but yeah, I got a unicycle when I was like in fifth grade and learned how to
Mhm.
ride it. So that was like my hidden talent growing up.
Yeah.
And then a third fun fact is I am going to Florida for Christmas. We leave
Oh,
on.
that's awesome.
Yep.
My sister's right there right now for a training trip. She swims. She's a
Oh,
little,
nice, nice.
but
Yeah, Florida's awesome
yeah.
this time of year. Yep.
Okay. So a couple more questions about running now, a little more rapid fire, I guess. Cross country or track?
Track for
All
sure.
the roads.
I mean, yeah, I gotta change my answer. I gotta say the roads. Like, I just
Okay.
love the road mile. That's just like what I grew up doing. Because like
Yeah.
all the roads in Ohio, or at least around my area, it's just all paved roads. So that's like what I grew up running on. So it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah. I mean, I've been up. That's where my grandparents live where we're moving, and it's so nice compared to. I live in Atlanta, and
Mhm.
there were some roads I was running on whenever I visit them. It would just go out all day, just country land. It's so nice and beautiful.
Yeah, and it's flat. Atlanta's hilly. Like I've
Yeah.
done training in Atlanta and it's hilly.
Uh-huh. Okay. Josh Kerr or Jakob Ingebrigtsen?
Oh, probably Josh.
Josh.
Yeah, I mean, we were the same class in college,
Mhm.
so we raced a bunch in college. Back when it was a little more even. Now he's way better than me, but it's been fun to watch him. You know, win some medals, and he also is with Brooks, which is based in Seattle. So I see them around a lot, and he's always
Yeah.
super nice to run with. So I gotta go with Josh.
Yeah, you definitely. I've asked a lot of people that question in interviews. You probably have one of the best perspectives on it because you've ran in these big races like that. So that's pretty cool. Um, are you more of like a road runner or like when you're like training runs, I guess? Like gravel, road, dirt, what's your favorite terrain to run on?
Oh man, it's changed over the years. I think.
Mhm.
Um, Everyone always says like you have to run on soft surface because it keeps you healthy and it's maybe less pounding on the legs. But I am just like a sucker for like a nice bike path, like a paved bike
Yeah.
path. I don't know why. I think that's another. It's because I grew up doing that, and
Mhm.
I don't think I don't have like the requirement. I never like say I have to run on surface. Like I think that's just
Yeah.
like I don't know. I like bike paths. I think I like having like the response of like having a
Mhm.
firm surface under your foot. Which I don't know, maybe just fits my running form.
Yeah. If you ever in Atlanta, we've got the Silver Comet here, 62 miles to Huntsville and back. So
Right, that's
it's
right.
quality trail for long runs, workouts, all that stuff.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll keep it in mind.
Okay. So, in your opinion, who is like the greatest American distance runner of all time?
Oh man. I mean, I think it's hard maybe to say because
Hmm.
it's something that that type of title, like the greatest American distance runner of all time, is something like when you think of that, you think of someone who's like already retired. But I
Yeah.
might have to say Grant Fisher just with his current
Hmm.
resume with the medals and the times, and he's got those American records, and I think when he's said and done, he might go down as the greatest American distance runner. But it's weird saying that because he's like
He's
younger.
still
He's like
going.
younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I would have to agree with you there. For me, it was either Galen Rupp. I think he's done a lot for distance running in the U.S. or Grant Fisher. But
hmm
honestly, I think a guy like Hobbs Kessler or Bryce Hoppel, they're more middle distance, but I think they could definitely do something in the sport, especially Bryce since he's so young.
hmm Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, Hobbs he has range, so you never know. He might end up moving up at some point, and I think he'll probably have the best personal bests from 800 all the way up to
mhm.
10K when he's done.
Okay, what's your favorite race like that you've done? Like not like a distance like event you've been to, I guess.
Yeah, the best event I've been to. There's so many good ones. I think
Mhm.
what the yeah. I think because I love road racing and I do love New York City and the Fifth Ave Mile is just a blast because it's always the last race of the season, or at least like historically
Yeah.
the last race of the season. So there's nothing like ripping a road mile down Fifth Ave
Hmm.
and then being done with your season and doing it like in such a iconic city. So that and the New York Roadrunners who put on that race, they do such a good job of like taking care of the athletes, and they
Yeah.
make it a really cool experience. So I would have to say Fifth Ave is probably my favorite event to go to. So
Hmm.
I hope I can make it back this year or next year.
So from what I've heard, I was just wondering, would you be very happy if they were to add like a road mile or road event to like an Olympic event, like just change it up a little bit? Because I've heard talk about cross country being added in 2028, but I'm not sure about any of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about them adding it to the
Mhm.
Olympics. I think by adding the road mile to the road running world championships, I think is a good step and a good opportunity for guys like me who maybe
Mhm.
prefer the roads a little more.
Yeah.
I got to run in the first version of it last year in Riga, and I hope to run in San Diego next year when they have it again.
Mhm.
If they eventually someday if they do add it to the Olympics, I think that could be a fun event. But I don't know if it fits in with like the history of the Olympics, and by that point
Yeah.
I'll probably be too old anyways, so I can't really have an opinion.
I think it would be awesome to see them just like find an all downhill road mile course, see how fast those guys can really go.
Oh
Get
man, yeah,
close to
I
sub 3.
Yeah, with the wind downhill. There
Uh-huh.
are some fast road mile course. Like there's one in Ohio called the Guardian Mile, and on paper it doesn't look that fast, but
Hmm.
one year Johnny Gregorek and I ran 346 and 347, just because it ends on a downhill, so you can just close so
Yeah.
fast. So that was probably the closest thing to having, your downhill road mile.
Hmm. Okay. So if you could go pro in one other sport besides running, what would it be? And what sport do you think you're closest to going pro in besides running?
Um, I I don't like have like a ton of I love watching cycling like the Tour de France.
Uh-huh.
So I think that would be a fun sport to go. It's like maybe not like as um maybe not the best answer because I'm not going to make as much money if you go pro in like basketball or
Yeah.
football. Like cyclists probably don't make like the top guys make decent money, but you're not going to make
Hmm.
a ton of money. But I think I would love the lifestyle and the the nature of the sport is similar to distance running, where you're kind of like grinding for hours on
Yeah.
end some days. So and that just looks like a fun event to be a part of too. The Tour de France is one of a kind. So I think if I ever had a chance to do that, I would. I'm not sure if I'm probably not close to going pro in cycling, but um, I don't know. I did a lot of basketball growing up. I didn't play in high school, but I played in middle school. So maybe that's my like next best sport besides swim team, obviously, because I did that for four
Yeah.
years. So a lot of options, but yeah, I really enjoy watching cycling.
Yeah. You probably have the most like regular answers when I've asked this question. I've heard a lot of guys say like ping pong, pickleball, cornhole, and a bunch of sports like that. So I just think that's kind of funny that you chose more common sports, I guess.
Yeah, maybe a little more practical. I don't know.
Yeah. But is there any hobbies like that where obviously unicycling, that's a big one. But is there
Yeah,
anything you do like that for fun?
I do enjoy playing ping pong. And um, yeah, I mean, yeah, being from the Midwest, I like cornhole too. So I don't think those are hobbies, but those are just, yeah, like other fun things that maybe I'm slightly more skilled at than the
Yeah.
average person. Um, But I just like being outdoors. So like whatever involves being outdoors is
Mhm.
probably like a good hobby. So it's like cycling or hiking or running, obviously. So
Mhm.
yeah. And then one of my training partners is really into disc golf. So he's recently
Oh,
made a disc
I'm
golf
a
with his
big
son.
disc golf guy.
Nice, nice.
Um, I'm excited. One of my favorite reasons we're moving is there's a nice disc golf course about 10 minutes away from my house that we're moving to. So me and my grandpa, he trained his dog to go get the disc for him.
Oh
So,
no way. There you go. Now you're never gonna lose a disc.
oh yeah. And apparently the dog has found like 150 discs in the woods at like my grandpa's. So that's a little fun fact.
That's awesome.
Okay. So I guess I'll ask you one kind of big last question. If you could end your career in any way you wanted, like winning the Olympic gold, like what would it be? Like if you could end it any way you want.
Oh man. Yeah, any way I want. Um, that is a good question. I'm trying to like think of a unique answer because Olympic
Mhm.
gold, I think everyone would pick that, obviously. But then I
Yeah,
don't know if that would end your career. Like that would probably like force you
that
to.
would be a jump to it. Yeah.
That'd be a jump start to career. So like to end the career, like if I envision like whenever I decide to stop running, like the end of my career, um, like something uh, that would be meaningful. Probably yeah, doing probably doing like a road mile somewhere like winning Fifth Ave or something I think would
Yeah.
be a fun way because that's like always been a consistent part of my career is Fifth Ave. So I think if I could, end on a high note there, it's not like the type of race that, you know, is like the Olympics where it'd be like life changing, but it'd still be
Yeah.
like,
Okay. I mean, I feel a lot of guys when they do end up retiring, it's not the way they would like. I mean, specifically, like I was thinking of Elliot Kipchoge. He's
Mhm.
had a rough past couple races, so. But I think honestly, going out on a win could have been great. I think that's what I think Jakob Ingebrigtsen should have done after the 1500-meter Olympics. Just move up to the 5K after that. That's just
Yeah,
my personal
yeah,
opinion.
he's I don't know, still pretty young, so I don't know when
Yeah,
he'll officially move up, but he's yeah, he's so good at the 5K. It's almost unfair.
yeah. Um, I don't have any more questions for you. If you have any for me, I can answer them. If not, um,
Um, I yeah, I don't think I have anything on the top of my mind, but really appreciate
okay.
the conversation and
Yeah.
yeah, good luck with your move to Ohio.
Thank
Hope
you.
you enjoy it. It's a great state.
Oh yeah.
I really had a good time growing up there, so wishing you the best.
If you ever come back to visit your hometown, you have to let me know.
For sure. For sure. Will do.
Okay. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.